Toastmaster James Hewitt and President is working on Pathways Level 2 project, Knowing Your Communication Style. In his speech titled, Being There Before, I want you to pay attention because he believes that someone in this room needs to hear this message. Please welcome Toastmaster James Hewitt.
Great morning, Toastmasters and guests. Good morning. I had a different speech prepared for this morning, and I changed it up. The higher power put something different on my mind to present to everyone today, because I believe that someone may need to hear it. Before I give this speech, I need a commitment from all of you. I'm sorry, it's probably bad to ask you for a commitment this early. Some of you just met me. But I need a commitment. In order to hold that commitment, it's going to be a two-part message. I'm going to tell you what to say. Anytime I say, don't feel sorry for James, I want you to say, because James is all right. Can we try it one time? Don't feel sorry for James.
Because James is all right.
Awesome. We can get this started. The last few years of my life, I've been very, very proud of what I've become and who I've become. And I always have this great spirit. No matter what, I'm always happy. I can be going through anything. I'm just great. Everything is great. Anytime you see me, you ask me how I'm doing, I always say, fantastic. It's never good. It's never okay. It's always fantastic. And I truly am. So over the last few years of my life, I've came across a lot of different people who always ask me different questions. And I found a universal answer to mostly all the questions that the people ask me. And I always tell them, it's something about being there before. One of the questions that people ask me is, why do you never get scared? Why are you so calm? There's times I've been in chaotic situations, and they're like, how do you stay so calm? Like, how do you do this? And I go, it's something about being there before. See, as a child, there was times I lived in a very, very rough neighborhood. One morning, I'll never forget when I was a child, we lived in an apartment complex in a really bad, rough neighborhood. And when we walked out the door, me and my single mother had to do this. Would anyone guess what we had to step over? A dead body. See, there's something about being there before that strengthens you for future situations. See, after seeing that dead body walking over like it was nothing and you're afraid to call the cops because you don't want to be the one that snitched and then it happens to you next, there's something about being there before. One day I was sitting on a bench, the very same neighborhood, on a bus stop with a couple of my older cousins. Everyone's sitting on the bench. There's a guy behind us and there's a guy in front of us. They're arguing, whatever, they're a distance apart. The guy behind us starts shooting. Everyone immediately gets on the ground, and me, I'm just a kid, I don't know what's going on. Everyone's saying, get on the ground. And then I got froze, I stuck. And my cousin literally snatched me by my back and threw me down. And that experience, it was so, so traumatic, and it was tough to get over that experience. But the next time around, me and my cousin, very similar neighborhood, we're walking, and there's a drive-by shooting. People just start shooting. What do you think I did that time? I got on the ground. And at that point, it wasn't really a big deal. I wasn't traumatized or anything. And I was wondering, like, man, why am I not scared? Why am I not, why isn't this affecting me? And I told myself, there's something about being there before that strengthens you for further situations. Another question that people ask me, James, you never worried. You're going through this right now. Why aren't you worried? Like, your bills are due this, you don't have any? And I always say, there's something about being there before. Now, before I tell you this next part, I want to do this again. Don't feel sorry for James.
James is all right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. You guys are great. So there was a time about 3 weeks ago, I was having problems with certain checks that I changed my address and everything, and long story short, I was with $0 for a significant amount of time. And someone came into my life that I knew before COVID. Thank you. And that person gave me some money. I was kind of just saying this way. The person gave me some money, and she's like, why are you walking around here like everything's great? They're going through this. Why did you say that about? Because everything is great. It's all right. And I thanked her. I said, man, thank you so much, because I was down to my last meal. And she's like, what is wrong? I said, it's something about being there before. There's something about growing up with a single mother. My father was in prison for 8 years, and when we didn't know where our next meal was coming from, my mom had to say, go in there and find something. And then you mix like bread, butter, and sugar, or you find peanut butter with no jelly, or you have to eat cereal with water. There's something about being there before that strengthens you for further situations. Another question I get sometimes, people say bad things about me, people disappoint me, and it never bothers me. Or someone's asking me for advice, and I go, who cares? Well, how can you let this person say that? I say it's something about being there before. See, when I went to school, I had very, very bad acne. You can see some of it still exists sometimes. Don't talk about me. Don't feel sorry for James. So I had very, very bad acne, and then I would get what's called the T-zone. So I would get pimples like right on the point of my nose. And we all know what happened when I went to school. Oh, Rudolph, you look like Rudolph. And on top of that, I had a big keloid scar on my ear. And that thing got called every name in the book. The Black Skittle, Boston Baked Bean. So I got picked on a lot. Even though I was very popular, I wasn't a sad kid. My childhood was great, but I got picked on a lot because of that. And talking about disappointment, when my father finally got out of jail, it was weekend after weekend after weekend where my mom would tell me to get ready because your dad's coming, then he never came. There was so much disappointment in my early childhood. My grandma, who was my best friend, my mom was a single mom who worked in Taco Bell, so I stayed with my grandmother most of the time. When I was a kid in first grade, I watched my grandmother die. My grandfather was helping her go up the stairs, and she collapsed, and my grandmother died right in front of me. A couple years after that, my little sister, who was only 6 months old, who was the world to me, who had became my best friend. I was so excited to be a big brother. She suffocated in the bed, and she died. And people ask me, how could you die? I say, there's something about being there before that strengthens you for a further situation. Now, the moral of this story is, now whenever I take on any situation, even if I haven't been there before, I can always look forward to say, this situation will strengthen me for a future situation. So anytime I go into anything, I can say, in the future, I'll be able to say, I've been there before. Don't feel sorry for James. One more thing I want you to finish. I know you've all heard this, and it ties all of this right back together. What doesn't kill you
makes you stronger.